Meet women in tennis. You could say the ladies keep the game of tennis interesting. Some are known for beating the boys, others are known for rolling in the money, and then there are those known for their high-profile relationships. And it's not just colorful and cute outfits they bring to the court, they come to the net with raw power and strength. They may play fewer sets than the men, but at the end of the day, just like their male counterparts, they need to win the game, set, and match if they want the world to see their truth. The game of tennis didn't always play out the way we watch it currently. The origins of the game came from real tennis, played on a walled indoor court with hard balls and wooden rackets. But somewhere around 1873, that all changed with its much cooler sister, lawn tennis. Now the sport is also played on clay and hard courts. Prior to 1968, both amateurs and professionals couldn't compete against each other at Grand Slam events. But once the Open era came into full effect, the playing field was leveled. And a girl who knows a thing or two about Grand Slams is Australia's very own Margaret Court. Because she won a total of 64 Grand Slam titles, more than any man or woman has won ever. Her brilliant career includes 24 singles, 19 doubles, and 21 mixed doubles. She also is one of the few to complete a career boxed set, which is winning all 4 majors as a single, double, and mixed double. Her name really says it all. Hence, the Australian Open competition decided to name a court in her honor. Now many of the greats have won or lost on Margaret Court Arena. The Australians were a dominant force throughout the 60s and 70s, including Yvonne Goolagong, who won the Australian Open on home soil a total of 4 times. Even after quitting, some athletes prefer to remain in the game, including Amélie Mauresmo. The French force won 25 singles titles, 2 of them Grand Slam singles in 2006 at the Australian Open and Wimbledon. Once retired, she took on the role of coach to struggling Scot Andy Murray in 2014, when he was slipping down the rankings.
You know, when I started working with her officially, I was ranked 11 in the world. I just dropped out of the top 10 for the first time in, I don't know how long it'd been, but 8 years maybe.
And while many thought it a controversial topic for a woman to coach a man, Mauresmo saw it as no big deal.
It's not really interesting for me, this part of the story, to be honest. All I'm interested in is to be able to help him in his goals, and that's about it. The rest is the story for you to write, I guess.
But Mauresmo writes her own stories. Coming up, she's the king. Not even Serena Williams herself could have predicted just how bright her future was.
No, not at all. And I just never thought about, I've always wanted to win. You always a kid, you're like, I want to be the best, I want to be number one, I want to win Grand Slams, but to actually do something is much harder than saying it and put in the work and the effort and the sacrifices and absolutely everything. So, yeah, I never, at that age, I definitely was thinking about ice cream trucks, not anything else.
But she made time for more than just ice cream trucks, picking up her first tennis racket at the age of 3. Now the greatest female tennis player of the modern era, she has charged through the record books, collecting Grand Slam titles at will. Williams has not just made an impact on the game itself, she's led the way in standing up for important issues. And that includes all the negative comments being served up to Williams in regards to her figure. She slammed the haters on Good Morning America, saying, "I love that I'm a full woman, and I'm strong, and I'm powerful, and I'm beautiful at the same time." Whatever the matter, it's clear that Williams is not one to hide in the shadows.
Yeah, it's not so easy. Some days are better than others. Some days I'm like, feel it, and some days the pressure gets to you, you know. It's kind of hard when you go to every single match and you're the favorite to win, and it's bigger news when you lose than when you win. So that is not really easy. But one thing that I learned when I was really young is I had an opportunity to work with Billie Jean King, and I've said this a number of times. She said, "Pressure is a privilege."
And while she may be the queen of women's tennis, the next girl very well may be the king. Billie Jean King is a legend in the game of tennis. At 11, she picked up her first racket, taking free lessons near her home in Long Beach, California. The confident kid went on to tell her mother, "I am going to be #1 in the world." And King's psychic abilities proved correct, carving out a stellar career, which comprised of sitting in that #1 spot and winning 39 Grand Slam titles, including 12 singles, 16 women's doubles, and 11 mixed doubles.
Don't let anyone define you. You define yourself.
King has arguably done more for women in the sport than any other. By 1973, she formed the Women's Tennis Association, or the WTA. The same year, she took fellow American Bobby Riggs on in a match famously known as the Battle of the Sexes, winning in 3 straight sets, knocking the chauvinistic player off his throne. As one of the first openly gay women in sport, King was and still is a pioneer. She is a huge advocate for gender equality, even stretching to football, where women are paid significantly less than men, despite the 2015 Women's World Cup reportedly being viewed by over 750 million people.
What do I want for women in football? It's very simple. I just want gender equality. I want the same enthusiasm, the same investment, and the same caring for women's football as we already have in men's football. We're way behind, but it's possible.
Back in 1972, after she won the US Open, she saw another opportunity, stating that if they didn't parity the prize money, she wouldn't compete, an issue that would play out for years to come. The pay gap between men and women is an ongoing problem. In 2015, the World Economic Forum predicted that women would be paid the same as men in 118 years. Unfortunately, these statistics affect most, if not all, workforces, even Hollywood. But professional tennis is slowly but surely changing the pace. As of 2007, all 4 Grand Slam singles equaled the winnings between the men and the women. The US Open paved the way in 1973. It took a while for the Australian Open to catch up, but they matched the prize money between men and women in 2001. The French Open followed in 2006, and finally, Wimbledon came on board in 2007. Which Venus Williams played a huge role in, penning an article for the British major to even the coin. She received some good karma, going on to win at the All England Club in 2007, making her the first woman in Wimbledon history to take home the same earnings as the men. You could say Maria Sharapova had it all. Talent, brains, money, success, and beauty. The Russian won her first Grand Slam singles title at Wimbledon in 2004. In the next 10 years, she collected 4 more and a silver medal at London's 2012 Olympics. With Sharapova's wealth estimated by Forbes around $285 million, for 11 years, she was the highest paid female athlete in the world. from her winnings, sponsorship, and candy empire, Sugarpova. In 2016, Sharapova organized a press conference with the media speculating that she was about to retire. Instead, she dropped a different bombshell.
I wanted to let you know that a few days ago I received a letter from the ITF that I had failed a drug test at the Australian Open. I did fail the test and I take full responsibility for it.
The Russian went on to reveal that she had been medicating with meldonium for 10 years, which had been banned as of January 1st, 2016, a fact she claimed she wasn't aware of. However, it should be noted that Sharapova knew the drug by a different name, mildronate.
I was given this medicine by my doctor for several health issues that I was having back in 2006.
But her health wasn't her only issue. Sharapova was provisionally banned from competition and her sponsors dropped like flies. Tag Heuer did not renew her multi-million-dollar deal and Nike reneged on her current contract.
I've let my fans down. I've let the sport down that I've been playing since the age of 4 that I love so deeply.
Even in the midst of a disaster, the elegant Sharapova kept her cool.
And I know many of you thought that I would be retiring today and announcing my retirement. But if I was ever going to announce my retirement, it would probably not be in a downtown Los Angeles hotel with this fairly ugly carpet.
Instead of retiring, she decided to jet off on holiday with friend and comedian Chelsea Handler. After all, laughter really is the best medicine. But the subject matter didn't end there. The women of tennis were vocal in their opinions on the matter, presenting a united force to the media.
I think as athletes, we always make sure to really make sure that there's nothing in it that could put us in a bad situation.
For me personally, I've said this many times, I'm very sure that Maria did not know this thing was on the list, otherwise she would have never taken it.
And like so often with women in a public platform, the issue became that of a greater one.
To be perfectly honest, I think in sport and in life, there's always a double standard. Always. Whether it's a race thing or a sex thing, there's always been a double standard and difference. However, this is a different thing, and I think, as Maria said, she's ready to take full responsibility, and I think that showed a lot of courage and a lot of heart.
After the break, it was the perfect match. She was on top of the world, with 8 Grand Slam singles to her name. But then came the event that would change her and the world of tennis forever. The scene took place in 1993, when Monica Seles was playing in the Citizens Cup in Hamburg. During a changeover, a crazed man stabbed Seles in the back, and the audience gasped as she collapsed on the court. It took 27 months for Seles to return to the game. Her physical appearance was heavily criticized when she wasn't the lean machine she once was. But coupled with the stabbing, Seles was grieving the loss of her father.
Go after this Seles, sir.
And while she still appeared to hold a strong presence on court, she only won one more major. Forever begging the question, if it weren't for that fateful day in 1993, how would Monica Seles's career have played out? Either way, the positive player still found success, putting pen to paper for a series of young adult novels.
It's a new adventure, a new arena I'm entering. I very much enjoy writing and coming into alive, seeing it come alive.
Also reportedly partnered in a sports chain restaurant alongside fellow retired tennis player Andre Agassi. But as the saying goes, behind every great man, there's a great woman. In 2001, just days before she gave birth to their first child, Steffi Graf wed Andre Agassi, making their love affair official. And in his words, "She's my lady, End of story. Now retired, the pair are based in Agassi's native Las Vegas with their 2 children, only bringing out the rackets for charity and exhibition matches. The duo have stuck together through thick and thin, including Agassi's supposed fallout and lawsuit with longtime friend and business partner Perry Rogers, who sued Graf reportedly for a financial discrepancy. When it came to on-court rivalry, there was one player who met her match in Graf.
They certainly are familiar with each other.
Steffi Graf and Martina Navratilova faced off against each other professionally 18 times, each winning 9. The rivalry heated up when Navratilova was knocked off her #1 spot by Graf in 1987. Following it up in 1988 with her incredible calendar Grand Slam, which was something Navratilova never managed to accomplish. While Graf has one of the most powerful serves in the sport, there is no doubt that Navratilova still goes down as one of the greatest forces on the court.
Well, you know, you can't discount Martina Navratilova. And, you know, there's so many great ones, but her name would stick out immediately.
Navratilova's accomplishments are that much more impressive because of her story. In 1975, she defected from Czechoslovakia, which was under Soviet control, going on to become a naturalized American. Still to this day, she appreciates what the game has done for her life.
Anytime you can introduce the sport to more people and also make them follow the sport, the better.
Therefore, Navratilova has become a huge advocate for human rights.
The athletes, they just want to play ball. They want to ski, they want to play hockey, they want to run, and they want to compete. This is what they've been working for all their life, and they should not be mired one way or the other. They should be allowed to be who they are. And if they want to speak out, they should be allowed to speak out.
It's a story that sounds familiar in the sport of tennis. Martina Hingis and her mother left Czechoslovakia for Switzerland with one dream in mind, for Hingis to succeed in tennis, and boy did she deliver, going on to become one of the most remarkable players.
Our sport has given me everything in my life, and it would be the truth. But maybe I can add something special, something to give you a little bit more insight about who I am and what this all means to me. I was born behind the Iron Curtain, and my mother wanted to tear the curtain apart for me. That is the reason I played tennis as a little girl. In 1980, my mother had not many choices for giving me a better life and a chance for freedom to see the world. She chose the game of tennis as a way out of the world and the prison we lived in. So thank you, Mom.
She proved she's still got what it takes when coming out of retirement for the second time in 2013. Alongside her doubles partner, India's Sania Mirza, the pair have dominated, surging to the top of the rankings while winning multiple Grand Slams. The girl can't get enough of the game. Germany's favorite tennis pro, Angelique Kerber, has been quietly climbing up the rankings. By 2015, her success no longer went unnoticed when she won the Stuttgart and Charleston tournaments. But like all the ladies on the tour, she had to face the almost unstoppable Serena Williams if she wanted more wins. Prior to 2016, there was only one time the German had knocked the American to the side at a tournament, beating her in straight sets at the 2012 Cincinnati Masters. But it was the game down under in 2016 that had the whole world watching when Kerber beat Williams at the Australian Open, winning her first Grand Slam.
You know, the best moments, I had the best 2 weeks in my life, and the best moment of my career last night when I won the match point and really take the Grand Slam. That was always my dream, and my dream came true. When I was a kid, I was always dreaming about this, to win one day a Grand Slam, and I think I had a really crazy week with the first round where I was match point down, but yeah, the best weeks of my life.
However, back in 2014, when struggling for any major wins, Kerber decided to rethink her game. Instead of quitting, she made some hard decisions in regards to her team, which included recruiting her old coach. Torben Beltz and Kerber have known each other for almost half her life. The pair go way back, all the way to Kerber's first years on the WTA Tour, making it a match made in heaven.
It feels great being the number 2 in the world right now. I showed the world how good I am. I don't have to prove anything anymore. I have been in the top 10 for 4 years. I can say I am a Grand Slam champion, and nobody can take that away from me. Only one player is ahead of me now.
This team also included her idol, Steffi Graf, who was all too happy to answer the phone when Kerber asked for guidance. The German duo hit the courts together, resulting in a newfound confidence for Kerber. So you can imagine the elation when she became the first German female to win a Grand Slam title since Graf's 1999 French Open victory.
I was calling her yesterday. I was talking to her, and she was just happy for me, you know. She was just congratulating to me, and she was like, okay, you really deserve it, and she was really happy that I won my first Grand Slam.
But the girl made sure to kick up her heels.
You know, actually I was not sleeping at all, you know. I went back home at like 4 o'clock, and we decided to go for a drink to the bar, and at 7 o'clock I had my next media thing, so I was really celebrate the moment with my team.
Which could explain her problems popping the champagne with press. Still to come, they're making a racket on screen. When you're an athlete, being at the top of your game isn't necessarily the only recipe for success. If you have the looks, winning personality, and even more so, swagger, then you can even take an okay career and turn it into something bigger. But this wasn't the case for Sue Barker. She may not have a collection of Grand Slams, but the Briton did manage to sit in the top 10 in her career while winning the 1976 French Open. Barker went on to become a big TV personality. Since 1997, she's been a sports presenter for BBC's long-standing program, A Question of Sport, as well as covering other major sporting events. As a tennis player, her career was extraordinary. Grand Slams, world #1, cash in the bank. Chris Evert had it all. Once retired with 18 Grand Slam singles titles to her name, the American was inducted into the Tennis Hall of Fame, using her platform to inspire young girls across the world.
If I helped at all, I think that I helped the notion that it's okay for a woman to be an athlete, to be competitive, to be tough, to be determined. And those are attributes and qualities that it was okay, always okay for men to be those things, but not until the last 20 years or so has it been okay for a woman to be those things. So all you young girls out there, you know, you can do anything you want if you put your mind to it.
And one girl who became a global superstar, adored by fans across the world, is Anna Kournikova. It didn't matter that when she hit the court, she wasn't always the most consistent player, because with her long legs and long locks, the Russian was a money-making machine, even making an acting cameo in the film Me, Myself and Irene, starring alongside Jim Carrey. Plenty of brands saw an opportunity in Enrique Iglesias' wife. Despite only making a few mil from the game, she made millions and millions from endorsements such as Adidas. In fact, some might say she was the original girl to break the internet. In 2001, a virus broke out when users clicking on a link were promised a compromising photo of the star.
The fact that this is the day before Valentine's is not unexpected. I think you've got a pretty girl who has, it seems, a picture in the email that's been sent to you, so guess what?
But Kournikova kept the fans guessing, except when it came to her bank account, with the successful businesswoman being worth around $50 million. Tennis requires a mental strength as well as a physical endurance like no other. It's captivating to watch, especially when some of the greatest athletes, male or female, are put to the test. But it should be said that women and men will always differ, and that's okay.
Women's tennis should be women's tennis. So you've got to account for the fact that we have different body shapes, we have different muscle mass.
And unlike most sports, where the men dominate the viewing time, the women in tennis get their fair share of time in the limelight, because their results speak for themselves. And that is the truth.